Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. I am Victoria Rogers with the Greater Scranton Chamber of Commerce. I am the Membership and Community Relations Specialist. We have Dorothy Grill today with us to speak about Workforce Initiative Program. She's with the Scranton Lackawanna Human Development Agency, and we chatted a little bit before we got on here, and she's been doing a fantastic job in her role. Just some housekeeping notes before we start. Everyone's pretty much on mute, so thank you for that. Feel free to ask any questions in the bottom chat box. It's in the middle of your screen at the bottom. Through the presentation, I'll be viewing those questions, and then we can go ahead and ask Dorothy and get some answers for you. I am recording this session because we will be putting it on our website afterwards for anybody that does miss anything. So Dorothy, thank you so much for being with us today. We're really excited to see what you have in your presentation, and it's your turn up.
Okay, thank you, Victoria. So as Victoria said, I'm Dorothy Grill. I'm just got promoted in January to the Workforce Coordinator for the Scranton Lackawanna Human Development Agency's Workforce Initiative Program. So our basic program requirements for any of the firms I'm going to be talking about today is that this is only for Lackawanna County residents who are at or below the 200 poverty line, which I did include our chart up to 5-member household. And with that, we do require them to be at least 18 years of age or older. Just for logistic purposes, it's easier to place an 18-year-old than it is a 17-year-old. I was a youth counselor at CareerLink, so I know that for a fact. So that's our main criteria for each of the programs I'm going to be talking about today. So the programs that we offer, typically we see 4 programs across the boards. We do vehicle repairs for individuals that are working. We do a workforce development program where we work with individuals who are either not working or looking to advance in a position. We also run a rental assistance and utility assistance program. Now, what I will say about the rental and utility is right now we've put those two on hiatus. So that way we can focus on the county's program that they rolled out March 1, which just gives a lot better service to individuals than what we could give with the $400 for the rent and the $225 for the utilities. They're able to cover a lot more. However, with that being said, our office is serving as a community partner to that program, so that if you have clients that need help scanning the documents in, things like that, we do have the capability to help them complete their rental and utility applications down here for the county. So, of course, that's the county's information there. I just wanted to include it because I knew I was going to be bringing that up. So again, we are serving as an organization that can scan documents in for individuals that are in need of that service. So the programs that we do run. So the vehicle assistance is probably our most requested, just because it's a new idea for anyone involved from the county. You probably realize there's not much where to turn to, or there wasn't in the past, for people that were looking for repairs to their car, especially for those that might be working. With our programs, we work towards making the client or consumer of the programs self-sustaining and helping them get their feet on the ground and get them working towards the right pathway of making life sustaining wages. So one of the things we do cover is car repairs. So with our car repairs, it's for individuals that need their car to get to work. Now, there's no requirement that if they live on a bus route or something like that, that we would say no to the repairs. The only thing we would say no to is if they were looking for like something like window tints or something like that. We'll pretty much cover anything that is needed for the car to be what's called roadworthy or pass inspection. So the neat thing with our program is they can actually qualify for services once they have an offer letter from a company. So if a company has an individual that's hired on, they have that offer letter and they're looking at their HR director and saying, last week I had a car and now my tires are completely shot. Get them in touch with us because we can help pay for those tires potentially with up, like I said, up to $500 for the individual. So what we would need is a valid photo ID, proof of insurance and valid registration on the car, a written quote from the certified mechanic, and then the signed release, which comes along with our application. So what we do then is once we qualify them based on that 200% income that we talked about previously on the previous slide, is we will put them through the verification. We'll get them approved for the service, and then we contact the garage and get the payment out directly to the servicing garage or tire center, whatever the case is of where they're working from. Now, what I do want to point out is where we do put out on our literature that we do require a minimum of 21 hours per week. We are being a little bit flexible with that right now due to COVID. So we can either do 21 hours a week or over the course of the year, if they worked on average 21 hours a week, we could look at it that way. Because I know there has been a lot of people affected by the pandemic that might have had hours cut, no fault of their own. The other thing we could do is we could take a letter from the employer that states that they are contracted to work 25 hours a week, but they might not just be working that due to COVID. So there are a couple of different ways we can qualify them for that vehicle assistance program. So I don't want anyone to look at that 21 hours and say, well, gee, I was thinking of that client, but they're working 16. Let's get them to apply either via online or they can give us a call, which I'm going to have my contact information at the end of the presentation for you, with a good phone number to reach our staff. And let's get them, applied for, and let's see if we could help these individuals that need the help. Okay, so the workforce program. This again is brand new to the agency. We just started this up in November, building it up from the ground up. So like November through, I want to say about January, we were focused on just building out the program, really focused on getting the businesses on par with us. And then finally we started enrolling clients. So the nice thing again is they're coming straight to our office to do all the services. Our office is located in the marketplace at Steamtown, which means we are attended so we can validate parking, so free parking. Also, we work very closely with our clients to figure out what is the best situation for them. So I know other programs in the area do require usually that they try to do full-time hours. If you have a client that, they can only do part-time hours because their kids are home with the virtual learning, we can work with that. I have companies that are looking for very specific part-time schedules, companies that can be flex with the scheduling. And I also have companies that are, full-time opportunities when and if they are ready for it. So what the workforce program, the nice piece of this is we can either work with individuals that are completely unemployed or underemployed. So if they're making minimum wage and they're looking to get into manufacturing, nursing, whatever the case is, we can help them with that pathway. Now, typically what we do is we typically do refer over the career link for those of you that are aware and familiar with their services for the actual training portion of it to get the training paid for if they qualify. If not, all hope is not lost. We do have several companies that we partner with that actually do their own in-house training where the client will be paid for the time that they're going through the actual training. So things like nursing assistant, working up to a certified mechanic, if they don't qualify for that career link funding because their household makes too much money, we have companies that are willing to work with us to help train the client while they work for them and build them up that way because they believe in their workforce. So what our job training does is we have two separate focuses. The first one is naturally we have clients that have come to us that we look at them and we're like, let's see your resume. And they're like, never did one, don't know what that is. So we can start very basic with it and start very, on point with them to get them through like what documents they need now to apply for a job. But the other thing we can do with the workforce program is we can also manipulate it if we have someone coming in that has a pretty solid looking resume, knows what cover letter is, things like that, might be like a college graduate that they've had this training before as part of a senior seminar. We can challenge them a little bit to give them some skill development in the soft skills areas. So we focus on things like communication, you know, interviewing, leadership development, things like that, that could further benefit them in a later spin of it. So with it as well, we also, as it says in the flyer, we have a variety of employment opportunities. So I haven't seen a client yet out of the 15, 16 that we have on board with us come into our office and say, I want to go into this field. And we're like, yeah, no, we don't have nothing in that field. We figure it out for them and help them along the way.
Dorothy,
Okay, that's
Yes.
good.
we have a question.
All right,
Okay.
I gotta turn it up then. Okay.
Um,
Okay, bye-bye.
when you brought the companies on board, what does that mean? And did they sign a formal partnership, and do they pay special consideration to clients?
So we don't have them sign anything. It's just kind of a trusting partnership that we have. But what that means is we get direct contact with HR representatives that are doing the interviews. And what we're able to do is once they complete which way the client, the company wants them to apply for the position, whether it be a formal application or just us sending the resume over for review, it definitely guarantees them an interview within usually like a week, I would say, depending on the client's schedule. So with it, we just successfully got a girl placed up at Fastenal for an interview, and I was able to kind of just expedite the process a little bit for her and not have her just kind of hang out there and wait for someone to go in and pull that resume. So with it, all we ask the companies that get on board with us is that you give them a shot. We don't force them to take the clients because we don't have, like CareerLink, we don't have funding to say, hey, we're going to give you money to train this individual. Now, we will work with them if they fit that criteria to kind of partner in that way to help out the companies as well. But what that we just ask that they give our participants a chance, and we really strive hard, myself and Zach Goodrich, who's my workforce job resource officer, to match these clients to what skill sets the companies are needing. So we're the ones that have went out to all these companies and had really good conversations, tours of places, things like that, to find out exactly what the company is looking for. So we almost have a profile in each of our companies that we can match our job seekers to then. Okay, so the way the workforce program works is the client would apply online or via the phone with a staff member. Then we'll have them meet with staff in the office. Like I said, we're located in the marketplace at Steamtown to fill out some needs assessments and talk about interests. So that's where we really dive in with the clients to what their barriers might be for not working at all, or just working maybe in a minimum wage job, things like that. And then we talk about their interests as well of where they would like to go. And then we kind of start trying to match them up to the right companies, right opportunities that we have available to us. Like I said, the clients will complete an online job training course, things such as resumes, cover letters, interview skills, job searching, etc., as appropriate. So again, if they're coming to us with a really strong resume, we're not making them repeat the resume part of the course. We're just jumping right in and saying, okay, let's just make sure this is 100% up to date. Let's start doing some job applications with you, and let's kind of coach you through the rest of the program that you need. The nice thing with the interviews that we're able to do is we're able to kind of figure out what the companies are, how they're going to interview them, if they're going to be on site, over the phone, via Zoom, whatever the case is, and actually do mock interviews with our clients in that format so that they're completely comfortable with it. Because I know, especially working with adults, a lot of times you tell them they might virtually interview and they're like, no, I have no clue like what that even means. Like, how do I work this Zoom thing that they're talking about? So we actually do like a preemptive one with them to prep them for that time so that they know, here's how I get onto it. This is how I access it. This is what I'm going to be expected to do. We can check backgrounds for them. And of course, naturally, if their internet's not great or they don't have internet at all, they are always more than welcome to come into our office to do the interview, which is a very controlled environment. So there's no really loud noise, no kids screaming, no nothing like that. That's going to distract them from doing the interview. So what that, the other piece that I'm very proud of our program is we've reached out to community partners. So we're not duplicating efforts. We're utilizing what is there in terms of our already in our Lackawanna County for community partners to meet any needs that the clients might have. So whether that be childcare, financial, medical or mental health concerns, special situations, they just got out of prison. They're trying to re-enter the workforce after having a long break from being at home with children, anything like that, any kind of special circumstance they might have, any issues or barriers they might be facing. We work hard with them to do what we call a warm handoff with community partners, the other nonprofits in the area, to get them the services that they need so they can be successful from day one. So we're not spending time, working to place this individual and then suddenly, hey, it's your first day tomorrow. How's everything going? I don't have no childcare. We address that right up front with who we need to, so that way that they feel successful, that they're like, yeah, I can go and do this. I can go out to work. This is the case that it is. And we've even been working in the last month and a half to add a lot of at home opportunities as well with better companies, and not like the things you might see on Indeed where you're kind of questioning, is this really legit or not? Is this okay for my clients? We vetted these companies. They actually exist. They're actual payroll companies. So they have a lot of, we've been working to add that into effect as well for parents that might have to stay home with children due to the pandemic because of virtual schooling and things like that. We have been working hard to add those additional services to our repertoire, so that way we have something for everyone. And like I said before, we really try to match the clients to what their needs are. If they look at us and say, due to my family situation, I can only work part-time, then that's where we start you. Let's get you a part-time job in the field that you want, or something that's very close that's going to get you some skill set to get up to that level that you want. And let's work with you to figure that out.
Dorothy,
So clients,
actually, that's a great
yes.
segue. There's a question here that do
Okay.
you take clients that have backgrounds, felony, jail time, et cetera? And when you say work with Career Link, is that specifically on training, or what do you mean by that?
So with the clients, we take anyone that walks through the door. So whether they have a disability, they have a background, they have a criminal history, whatever the case is, we will work with them. We don't turn anyone away. And then when I say work with Career Link, that's exactly it, Victoria. We work with them to either partner with them for the training programs that are available, because at a certain income level, they are eligible for a $7,500 grant from the Career Link to go back to school. So if that's something that the client might be interested in, like let's say I have a client coming in and they want to get into the nursing field, we might work to get them a home healthcare aide job that requires very limited training that the company can do. But then we might look to get to that CNA level, which is going to pay better for them in the long run. So one of the things we'll do then is, if they meet the criteria and that's something they're interested in, we'll get them hooked up with the Career Link to start that process of getting them into school. And usually they're my clients that are looking for part-time work at that point, because no one wants to try to be working full-time and going to school, which is understandable. And with that, we really try to match them up appropriately and talk to them like, this is what you're getting into. Like, are you sure you really want to go to school with this? Because sometimes, unfortunately, clients hear money and they're like, yeah, that pay rate sounds great, 25.6 an hour. But then when they learn what the job actually entails, they're like, oh, wait, no, I don't want to do that. Never mind. So then, like I said, if it's not a client that wants to go to school, or even if it is a client that wants to go to school, we match them with companies, and the staff outreaches to our HR contacts on the client's behalf. Again, it's very specific to the company. So I have some companies on board with us that do still want to see the formal application via their website. I have other companies that are like, you know what, they don't have to do the actual application. Just get me their resume and I'll review it. So it's very specific on the individual companies, but what we did was create a Google Doc spreadsheet that lists out every single company. So even if it's not someone that I've talked to or that Zach, my job resource officer, has talked to, we're able to access that document at any time and say, oh, okay, that's how this company wanted to handle this. And we perform the right outreach. And then clients are interviewed and hopefully get the job. Once again, once they get to the interview stage, we're going to be having conversation with the client and HR to figure out what format that interview is. And so if we possibly can at all, by any means, we can get with them the day before or something, give them a mock interview in that format and figure out where we might have to do some coaching with them last minute or tell them, yeah, you're totally ready, go rock the interview. Now that doesn't work all the time because naturally sometimes the companies are so desperate for workers, they're like, yeah, you come in later today. And we're like, yeah, we have no time to interview you then. Just go do your best. Like these are some typical questions they'll ask, and we'll do like a quick speed run through of some of the typical generic questions that are asked, like things like, tell me about yourself, strengths, weaknesses, things like that. And like I said, we really strive hard to make the right matches, give the clients a couple different choices to kind of toy with in their heads, see what works for them, and really try to build it out with the client focus, with that person feeling like they're getting one-on-one services from the staff. And really, we get to know them as individuals and figure out what is the right placement for them. And this method, as crazy as it sounds like, does not take that much staff time. And I mean, honestly, it's, the best customer service we can give these individuals, because what that we definitely want them to feel welcomed in the space, but also then to feel like they have a location that they can come to us even after the fact, because we are required to follow them for 6 months after to make sure they're working, make sure everything's going okay. That if something does happen within those 6 months, we can kind of jump in and say, hey, this is how we're going to handle this. And we're going to help you through this situation. Because sometimes you get into jobs and everyone in this call knows this to be accurate. And you're like, whoa, I did not expect that. That other duties as a sign can encompass anything really. And sometimes you might have conflict with other people at the company and you're like, how do I handle this? And that's where we can jump in our follow-up conversations with them and say, this is how you're going to handle this situation, or here's some resources to help you handle that situation. So we really try to focus on making the clients our primary focus, getting them matched up to opportunities in the area that even sometimes they don't see themselves in. And they're like, I've had this conversation with clients already since we started this back in November, really January, is, they'll come to us and they'll say, well, gee, I only have a GED. That's still a high school diploma. Let's get you a job that requires that high school diploma, and let's get you something that you can afford your bills and you can work towards goals that you have for yourself. And it's really definitely amazing to see where they come into the program, and then when they're walking out to that interview and how excited they are when they come back to us and they're like, hey, that interview went really great. I mean, we just placed the one client from Carbondale, single mom, really struggling, and came to us and she's like, I hated the warehouse I was at. Okay, what did you hate about it? And she started talking to us about it, and we're like, okay, so let's get you placed with Fastenal, because at this point she was looking for part-time hours, and immediately that came to mind because for a variety of reasons that was like the number one choice to send her to. And if she chooses to go up there and advance to full-time hours, she has the chance to make 50,000 a year, which is huge for this woman. And it's stories like that all the time that really just drive what we do, because we want all of our clients to feel that success. So again, whether it's, they can only work part-time hours because maybe they're on disability or they have children at home or something like that, that's nothing to shy away from. We can get them placed. And again, we have a variety of companies on board with us, and we keep on outreaching and learning about new opportunities each and every day. that we can refer our clients to so that we get them the right fit and they're successful and happy in the environment that we're placing them in.
That's great. I have 3 more questions too.
Okay,
Do you want them
sure.
all at once, or I can just give you one at a time?
One at a time, please.
You got it. Yeah. Are the employers only Lackawanna County employers?
Right now, we've been focusing on Lackawanna. We do plan to reach out to other, like Luzerne County and things like that as we grow. The reason we've been slow on that is, of course, naturally, if anyone that's on this call is in the workforce, there's not a whole lot of clients to go around in workforce right now. So we don't want to have 20 million companies out there and be like, well, why don't you send people to us? Because I have no one to send to you right now. So we're trying to be very proactive and planning out our outreaches as we grow. We do want to reach out to some of the outer lying communities as well, like Pittston, Luzerne County, things like that, so that we get those companies involved as well, because I know there are some really good opportunities down there.
Thank you. Does the workforce program encompass any certifications that would aid individuals in obtaining designations or certificates in Microsoft Word, Excel, or et cetera?
So that's something we're actually working on. We just applied for a workforce grant through the Department of Labor and Industry. And even if we don't get that, that's something that we're going to work on as an agency to get them those certificates, because we know how important digital literacy is.
Yes. Awesome. And there is a question too about obtaining a copy of these slides, and that's fine with you if I share them with everyone,
Yes.
correct?
Mhm.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, not a
Thanks so
problem
much
at
for
all.
all your questions, everyone. That's great.
Yes,
Keep them
thank
coming.
you. All right, so really the next step is if you have clients that are you think are good fits or would be benefit from each of the programs, is to refer them out to our websites, which are listed here. I gave you the direct links. It's just www.slhda.org/vehicle assistance and then /workforce. Also, the telephone number that's on the screen, the 570-575-2938, is our direct company cell phone. So definitely you can reach out on that as well. Our clients can call us and we can walk through the application, because I know sometimes even the simplest online application, if you don't have the right technology at home, can be a little bit challenging and daunting. And that's definitely something we don't want to have happen, is we don't want the clients to feel like I can't apply because I can't access this website. We'll work with them over the phone. We'll take the information over the phone, fill it out, wet them on the phone with us, and then we'll work with them to get those documents in. So the documents that we would need for just in general qualify someone would be either W-2s or pay stubs for those that are employed. If they're not, if they're in the household and someone is working in the household, but they're not, we also would need like any income they're bringing in. So unemployment, social security, anything like that, we do take that into all consideration. And we basically add everything up and figure out if they qualify income wise. Now, one of the nice things with the workforce is even if they don't qualify income wise, we're not going to just shoo them out the door and be like, bye, see ya. We're going to try to help them as much as we possibly can with the staffing allowance. Of course, our focus has to be on the clients that qualify for our program, but we also don't want to turn anyone away, even with when we're running the rent and utility programs. When we would get the clients in that weren't working, we would try to get them into the workforce to help them out. Because again, similar to the vehicle, as long as they have that offer letter, we can help them with the vehicle. So even if we had a client apply right now that, let's say they weren't working and they decide to apply for the vehicle, we're having those conversations with them of, why don't you hop over to the workforce first? We'll get you that job, we'll get you that letter in place, and then we'll qualify you. Because the nice thing is once we qualify for one of our programs, we can go quickly across the board and qualify for the others, because we know the income, it hasn't changed. We just roll the income over basically and call it a day. We also need a copy of either photo ID or driver's license, whichever one they have. So that is something that we do require for both the the vehicle would have to be driver's license, and then the workforce we would require it for either, like I said, the picture ID or the driver's license, whichever one they had. And then also, we just really need to know what they're, for the workforce, what they're looking for. And that conversation comes when we have the conversation with them in the office to what they're looking for, what their interest might be. And we do have career assessments we can do with individuals who are just like, I don't know, place me anywhere. And I'm like, I'm not just going to place you anywhere. We're going to figure out what's a good fit for you and where you might be really successful as a individual. So we can make you happy, we can make you content, and we can get a really good placement for you. So we're not redoing this in 3 months because you hated the job and you quit. I mean, if that happens, fine, we'll deal with it. We'll cross that bridge when it happens, but I would prefer it not to because that's just slowing them down then. And the nice thing is we are working with nonprofits in the area to kind of build out even further pathways from us in terms of like, hey, you know, you want to own a house, let's get you over at Neighborhood Works. Let's have them talk to you about what it takes to own a house, like where your numbers have to be, what has to be done with your specific situation. So that way we really are building up all their dreams and what they really want to accomplish for their lives. So that's all I have today. If anyone has any other questions that I could take.
Well, I know I learned a lot today. I thank you so much for this. This was great.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity to present to everyone. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Any last call for any questions? Don't be shy. Oh, it's a thank you. Oh, thank you, Thomas. Okay, so I will be sending out this recorded session and the slides on our website in the next few days or so. So feel free to look for that. If you want me to email you directly the slides, I can also do that. My email is here, I'll put it in the chat down at the bottom. I can also send those to you personally, not a problem to do that. And there's no other questions. I will wait a couple minutes here so you all can have my email. All right. That may have only gone to Donna because I was that sent to everybody. Did everyone get that? Does everyone see my email at the bottom? No, Jennifer's saying no. She's shaking her head no. Let me see if I can change this. You know what I'll do? I'll just go ahead and email everyone the presentation. That'll be easier. Jennifer, I love the head nods. Thank you so much. Well, thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you, Dorothy, again, for your time and your information. It was very helpful. And we look forward to everyone joining us for another seminar here at the Scranton Chamber. Hope you'll have a great day. And I'm going to send some warm wishes. I know the weather's not the warmest out there, but I'm sending everyone some hopefully soon warm weather, and enjoy St. Patrick's Day this week. Thank you all so much. Have a great day.
Great.
You too. Take care. Bye now.
Thanks.